Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're taking a look at the Beasts of Chaos and how we can start a force with a Twistfray. Now, a Twistfray is not a sub-faction for Beast of Chaos. It's a collection of different miniatures that are all sort of bound under the Chaos God of Tzeentch, but we're going to talk about some units to get started with for the faction before taking a look at some other units we can use to expand upon those couple of initial purchases. Finally, we'll finish off the video with a little sample army list of 750 points for you to use as some inspiration for starting your own Twistfray army for the Beasts of Chaos, worshipping the Chaos God Tzeentch. So, with that said, let's get cracking on into the units. As I said, there's no particular sub-faction. There's no reason you have to run any sub-faction over another in this. You can freely choose what sub-faction you want to run, but let's get cracking into the units we recommend to get started with. And so the first place to start, obviously for me, is going to be the Tzaangor Shaman. This is the only Tzeentch-focused Tzaangor character within the book, but he's pretty nice. 6 wounds, 16-inch move thanks to that Disc of Tzeentch, and, a couple of different melee attacks that actually can do a lot more damage than your average sort of wizard, D3 attacks at Ren -1, damage D3, another attack at Ren -1, damage D3 coming out of the staff, and, a couple of attacks from the Ritual Dagger as well give him a decent amount of attacks. It's definitely nothing to write home about, but it's not quite as, useless as a lot of other wizards in many other armies. Now, this model has flight as well, and the disc does count as a mount, so it means this model cannot be a Galatian champion. Now, he's got a cool rule. His Sorcerous Elixir, once per battle in your hero phase, you can attempt to cast an extra spell. This model is base, a 1 cast and 1 unbind wizard, but this extra spell, if he does choose to cast it, will be cast with +3. Now, he's got his own War Scroll spell as well, Boon of Mutation, casting value of 7 and a range of 18 inch. You successfully cast, you pick an enemy unit within range and visible. That unit will suffer D3 mortal wounds, and for each model that is slain by a mortal wound cursed by the spell, you can add 1 Tzaangor model that is not a champion or Tzaangor mutant to a friendly Tzaangor host within range of the ability for this. So he does have, a nice little bit of force multiplication to him. He adds a lot to your force, and he's, in general, a pretty solid wizard. Now, the next unit I'm going to suggest here is Chaos Spawn. This is certainly the cheapest way, points-wise, to get into the faction and to get into playing a Twistfray, and also it sort of fits theme, Chaos Spawn, all mutated, definitely something very Tzeentchy about them, but you could certainly look to grab Gore or another battle line unit you have access to as well. This Chaos Spawn one will lead you down a particular sub-faction. There's not a lot of sub-factions that will directly affect a lot of your units, but it is something you can have uses for. And so, where to begin, further expanding and actually starting to get these Tzeentch units on the table, but the actual Tzaangor unit themselves. Now, they are referred to as Beasts of Chaos Tzaangors inside the Battletome Beasts of Chaos. They have 2 wounds each, a move of 6, and a 5+ save. You can have a variety of different weapons in the unit, and you can have one upgraded to a champion. 1 in 5 models can also be upgraded to a mutant, and you've got, just a ton of different weapon options. You can have Savage Great Blades in there, and you can have 2 in every 5 models with these Savage Great Blades. They are 1 attack at 4s, 3s, Ren 1, damage 2. Otherwise, you've got a lot of just damage 1 attacks, though if you have the Surgery Unleashed, you're going to get a bonus attack on all your Vicious Beaks when the unit charges, which is really nice. And they can also do some damage to nearby wizards. They're a pretty solid unit, though slightly expensive, but they definitely do have, some staying power. At 2 wounds each, they're nothing to shirk about. Now, the other units we have available to us are all Tzaangor, we can say, Enlightened style miniatures. So the first ones are the actual Tzaangor Enlightened. These will come in both an unmounted and the mounted on disc variations. Both of them will have their Tzeentchian spears with 3 attacks at 4s, 3s, Ren 1, damage 2. And they've got the Babbling Stream of Secrets, where in the combat phase, enemy units within 3 inch of this unit cannot receive commands, which is pretty cool, meaning, your opponent's not able to use all that defense and stuff like that. And they've also got the Guided by the Past rule, where you can add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly units with this ability if you're taking the second turn in the current battle round. So there's definitely some things to be thinking about when you're playing with these units. Now, as mentioned, you have the disc option. This is pretty much the exact same. You will get an extra wound for being mounted on a disc, and you'll also obviously jump up to that nice 16-inch move. It should be said that Tzaangor and Enlightened type units will have a base wounds characteristic of 3, so 4 when you're mounted on that disc. The last unit to talk about are Zangor Skyfires. They're a range shooting unit mounted on disc. This makes them extremely good at being able to get the shots where you want them to. Now, they have 4 wounds and they've got a decent save as well. They've got the ability to ignore negative modifiers to hit or wound rolls for attacks made with missile weapons by this unit, and ignore positive to save roll for attack modifiers, which is pretty cool. And also, if the modified hit roll for an attack made with the Arrow of Fate is a 6, the target will suffer D3 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. D3 damage bows with the potential for D3 mortal wounds, it's just always a good shout in my opinion. And so here we have our sample army list for the Twistfray army we're going to be trying to create. Now we've gone for the Great Fray of the Gave Spawn. The reason we've gone for this is it gives us access to the cheapest battle line unit, and also it sort of fits on theme. You know, Chaos Spawn battle line in this definitely are on theme for the army. 65 points, you're going to get 1 in the box set that's going to set you up for 750, and then just add another one once you start playing 1,000 point games, and that'll lead you to not have to grab another Chaos Spawn until you're playing 2k, and until you need those 3 battle line units. Now, we've got Protect the Hearthstone as our grand strategy as well. This is pretty simple. Don't let people near your Hearthstone. Don't let your Hearthstone get destroyed by like smashed to rubble or stuff like that. So a nice, easy sort of something you're already wanting to do is protect that Hearthstone. Now, our Triumph is inspired with 15 points under, plus 1 a wound could certainly come in handy. And then we have our leader, Zangor Shaman from the Beast of Chaos book, is going to be our general. Our command trait is going to be the Twistfray Cursed Beast. There are probably better ones than this particular command trait, but it's on theme, like, isn't it, being able to do this? So it's not a bad one though. It should be said, this is not a bad ability. You add the number of the current battle round to casting rolls for this general. This means you can get, some really crazy modifiers, especially with your once per game +3 to cast is really cool. Turn 5, you really need to get a spell off. You saved your elixir, you could get +8 to your cast. Now, our artifact is going to be the Knowing Eye. Once again, this is just on theme, but this is pretty cool. It allows the hero to, at the command phase, he'll generate a command point that only he can use, sort of like, a heroic leadership command point, and he can use it, but he has to, spend that command point. On top of that, though, if you take the second turn in the current battle round, your hero can make a 6-inch normal move after receiving your command point as well, which can be pretty cool. Now, we've then got, as battle line, as mentioned, 750 points, 1 Chaos Spawn at 1k, and even 1500, you just add the other one in, and then at 2k, you just add a third one. But we then have a bunch of other units. So we've got 2 units of 10 Zangor and a unit of 3 Skyfires. This will round out our force, and we're wrapping everything up inside a battle regiment for a 1-drop force. 63 wounds is pretty decent on the table. Like, there's a lot of wounds in those Zangor there. You remember, they're 2 wounds each, so it does, put a decent amount of meat on the table. Tzeentch, it is a little bit harder to create the Tzeentch armies than it used to be before, but there's definitely, I think, legs in them. They can be quite fun to play. They're probably not the most competitive list for Beasts of Chaos, but they are a viable list that you can build, and I think, with Gave Spawn making Chaos Spawn battle line completely fits in with narrative to me. But if you're looking to run a Twistfray, there's definitely this option, or going in the actual Tzeentch army book. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so that is the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to come chat more with me and chat more with our wonderful little community here at Sinful Gaming, we have a Discord server which is linked down in the video's description. Also, linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel, either by Patreon or YouTube members, or by going and grabbing yourself some channel merch, either by Teespring or by Ko-fi. Now, if you'd like to join any of those, once again, all down in the video's description. But as a special thank you, we'd like to give a shout out to all our Patreon and YouTube members. So thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lyle, Outer Shot First, Andrew Bowen, The Rising 8, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cader, Benjamin Swallows, Red Mine, Iron Grinch, Nicholas Conomos, Colorblind Magic, and our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, John Castle, Davis Wire, James South, and James Tillman. Lastly, a special thank you to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing channel artwork, and to everyone who helps by coming on the channel, whether to play games, or to those who run our Discord server as the mods, or just make it a general lovely place to be. Thank you all so much for watching once again. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.